Hello, welcome back to Pages into the Past. So today we are working on history bounding, and I want to make this skirt from the length that it is. I want to shorten it into what I consider a history bounding length, and to me what that means is like mid-calf. I also want to make it so that you don't have to wear a corset with it. You can wear a petticoat under it, which might mean making a petticoat with a drawstring versus a hook and eye. This one came out of my backstash. It's a pretty plain skirt. It's just standard gray. There's a hem at the bottom. Standard waistband. The back of it is just a straight cut, and I was hoping to get a little bit more volume. So I think what I'm going to do is I've already kind of calculated that the length that I want waist to mid-calf is approximately 35 inches. So I'm going to mark up 35 inches, see where that sits on the skirt, because I'm going to go from the bottom up so I keep the fullness, and see if I can add a couple rows of pleating on it just to give some interest, and how much of that will be left over. Cut off the waistband and reattach a waistband and put extra pleating and extra width in the back. So, ready to start our journey? Let's go! What I've done is I have measured up 35 inches. You can see here at the bottom pin is 35 inches from the floor. On the front of the skirt, the pin is here. You can see that there's definitely an angle. There's a difference of 3 inches. And here's what I found interesting. I just measured myself, double checking my measurements. And because this dress form does not represent my true shape, my belly button drops down from my waist where I would put the waistband, and the 35 inches is about a 3-inch difference, which is the difference between each of those pins. So I think what I'm going to do is keep the lower pin. I'm going to pleat on the bottom. I put 4 pleats in the bottom to raise up the length, and then determine if I have to cut anything off of the top, or do I do enough pleats. Because there's 9.5 inches from the bottom of the waistband to the top of the pin. To me, that's a lot of inches to pleat, but we'll see. And then I'm going to reset everything in the waistband so that it's not gathered, but that it'll pleat in the back so that there's a little bit more fullness in the back, like an Edwardian style skirt. See how that goes. Alright, so what I've done is I measured up 1.5 inches, made a little mark, and then I measured up 1 inch from there, make a 1-inch pleat. So essentially what will happen is that it will fold over to this mark here. Pleat is done, pressed in place that way. So I figure if I do 4 of those, we'll see what we've got left over when I try it on. Happy sewing! Okay, so I have done my pleats at the bottom, and this is my initial try on this. I cut the waistband and I cut it shorter. So this is the approximate length. This is 4 pleats. They're about 1 inch or so pleats. And I'm going to put it back into the waistband. I did cut it shorter from the top in the back. It seemed to be really long and drapey back there. I think that's the way I originally cut it, to kind of drag the ground a little bit, so a little bit more off the back than the front. I'm going to put it back on the waistband and do mostly pleats to the back for my history bounding outfit. But you can see here, these are the pleats, and I pressed into it and stitched down. So now to add the waistband. Alright, so here is the skirt. Nice pleating in the back, not pressed yet, but I think this will work out good for history bounding, because I'm going to have a shirt and a vest with it. Ta-da! So this was just taking an existing skirt. I added 4 1-inch pleats, because it was about 9 inches too long in some spots. I didn't really have to cut much off after adding those pleats. I redid the waistband. Now I just have to whip stitch it down. And moving on to the vest. So this is what I would call a redo, and making some of your historical garments go into history bounding. So have a great one. We'll see you in 2 weeks.